A couple years ago, I was on a flight by myself. I was sitting quietly in my chair, relaxing before takeoff, just reading a book, and suddenly a man just appeared next to me, sat down without saying hello, without acknowledging me, without looking at me even. That man was probably in his mid-40s. He had a long dark beard, and as the flight attendants prepared the plane to take off, the man started mumbling to himself in Arabic. He was shaking and sweating profusely and shifting in his chair a lot. The plane began its takeoff and the man started mumbling to himself stronger and stronger. I was sitting next to him completely terrified. I didn't know what the hell to do with myself. All I could think about was just to focus on my breathing. 5 in, 5 out. Breathe in, breathe out. The only thing I could do to not lose my mind. But as I was focusing on my breath, I suddenly noticed on my lap the book that I was reading beforehand, and I noticed one specific line that I marked for myself to read. When fear is present in us, we bring awareness to it. We smile to it and call it by its true name. I noticed that the man that was sitting next to me was looking over at the book that I was holding in my hands, and without thinking twice, I offered it to him. I just said, "It's a great book." The man took the book in his hands, looked over at me and asked me, "What's it about?" And I answered, "It's about peace." The man looked at the book, read it a little bit, and then looked back at me and asked me, "Where are you from?" And although I was still scared, I took a deep breath and I looked back at him and said, "I'm from Israel." He got quiet for a moment, but then he said that the media in his country portrays Israelis as evil people. But here we are, the both of us, sharing a book about peace. We both smiled in relief, and before I knew it, this man that was a complete, terrifying stranger to me just 10 minutes ago was sharing with me pictures of his home and his family, and even one very, very personal fact about him. He was afraid of flying. I remember myself at 12 years old, sitting in my living room and watching the live broadcast of the airplanes hitting the World Trade Center at 9/11. I remember how much fear I felt from uncertainty, from not knowing who did this. And I remember the newspapers that followed that day that were filled with pictures of men that looked exactly like that man that sat next to me on the airplane. Our real power as human beings is our ability to become mindful in a situation and to see the whole picture, to acknowledge the fear that runs us from the inside and to choose to act differently when we can. So maybe we can take the 15th anniversary of 9/11 as a reminder to ourselves that change has to begin with us and that we have so much power because we are truly, truly in this together.